because we wanted the fight to go ahead. The second one was because we didn't tell Eubank immediately. And on the Monday, they said, we're upholding all charges. I thought you lot can do one. You think I'm going to sit here and take this?
But if you have what they've said is, well, show us the evidence.
But I couldn't care less.
You've got 270 pages of apparent evidence. Surely the smart thing to do, whatever your views of the border control, they are the governing body. Surely you should just give them your evidence. Let them respond.
That's down to my legal team. You know,
well, what would stop you? I don't understand what stops you.
My pride, the way they've dealt with this,
pride won't get you through this.
But the board, I don't have to be licensed by the board. That's my views on it.
You do the fight in Britain.
I don't plan on fighting in Britain anytime soon.
Just put it all on the internet.
I want to. Trust me.
What's stopping you?
The ongoing legal cases. That's the only reason.
You seem to look. This is your career, your livelihood. This is everything at stake here, isn't it?
No, I agree.
Everything's on the line.
I agree, and this is what I keep trying to tell my lawyer, but you can't do this, you can't do that. Mate, this would have been public. I've known what I've known since December, and I've kept quiet, everyone firing, everyone attacking me, and I've known what I've known since December. And I'm sitting here again going, well, why can't we just release the information? Why can't the public just know what's actually gone on?
Because the public, you know, from what I looked at it today in social media, is savage. They've convicted you. They think you're guilty.
And I'm going to have to deal with that, I think. I think public have made up their mind.
How are you going to deal with that?
There will be...
Because Eddie Hearn, your promoter, says, look, it's time you've got to move on, you've got to progress. What do you think when he says that?
Well, I think the public have made up their mind already. Irrelevant of what's presented. Irrelevant.
And yeah, he's right, because in reality, ain't nothing been presented. Welcome. It is, Jesus Christ, I forgot the day's date. It is March the 7th, 2023, 9:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. About 15 hours ago, here, I'll show you. About 15 hours ago, 16 hours ago, on Piers Morgan Uncensored is where you can watch the full interview uploaded on YouTube. I believe it premiered in the UK or UK territories, about 2 days or so ago? But here in the States, we're just getting access to it. I know because yesterday, I almost signed up for goddamn Fox Nation for a free trial to try to find this, because Piers Morgan Uncensored show is on Fox Nation as well. But anyway, I'm going to put the link to this down below in the description box. But I'm going to tell you, this interview didn't help him, because it's like he's saying, now this is the gist I'm getting from it. And I got to be honest, I haven't really been following the story thoroughly until about a couple of days ago. Now he got popped here. Let me see what I mean. Read what it says. On October 5th, 2022, a statement was released from the British Boxing Board of Control declaring that Chris Eubank Jr. vs. Conor Benn is prohibited from taking place on Saturday, October 8th, after Benn tested positive for clomiphene. Isn't that how you pronounce it? Benn's promoter released a statement saying Benn has not been charged with any violation. He's not suspended and remains free to fight. Eubank's promoter also said that the fight will go ahead as scheduled. The following day, the British Boxing Board of Control confirmed that the fight has been postponed. And as it stands right now, he cannot fight in the UK. Now, he's saying, well, he's not saying, he's saying, and I'm going to play some timestamps here for you. Take your time out. Please like the video, subscribe. This is going to be on my YouTube channel and on the Fight View 360 boxing podcast and FightView360.com. That's going to be available on all of your listening platforms. So how it works on this channel, or at least if you're watching on YouTube, is I cover everything now. You know, boxing season, I guess, is upon us. We have an amazing schedule. I'm going to have a podcast and a video out on that also later today on March the 7th, 2023. But my issue is Conor Benn is trying to beat up on 44-year-old Pacquiao to try to redeem himself. And you don't get no stripes for that where I'm from. So let's go listen to some of this interview. I'm going to play some clips and we're going to stop and we're going to talk about it. So me personally, as I said, I don't feel that this interview did him any justice. You know, I don't feel that he got anything done. But listen to this right here, and we're going to talk about each segment. I have about 6 different timestamps here. Let's start right here.
I'm 26. When people are saying that I may have needed a testosterone booster, I'm 26.
Reduced body fat. Yeah, I'm just saying what it is.
Yeah, so I'm 26. When people are saying that I may have needed a testosterone booster, I'm 26 years old. I didn't even know what this thing was at the time. So for me, I thought, okay, you know, it may have been, you know, an error or an accident somewhere. We can find out what's happened. And then when I found out that, you know, there'd been a second adverse finding, was when I was like, okay, now something's actually wrong. There's something wrong here. And
what are you feeling inside yourself at that point?
Who's done this to me? I genuinely looked around and I thought it was the hardest part of this whole period. Of everything I've been through, this was the hard part, was because I was looking around and thinking, okay, I'm actively taking it. It's actively in something, or something's happened. It's definitely there. And these were the thoughts that were going on through my head. Who's done this?
Do you accept this was in your body?
I don't accept it was in my body, not at all. Based on independent scientists looking at the reports, based on my own scientists looking at the reports, and what we found. People say you may have paid for the best legal team. Damn right I paid for the best legal team. Damn right I paid for the best scientists. My career's on the line. My image is on the line. My name is on the line. And I can't be known for this. And it was more so me employing the best people to find out what had actually happened.
What do you think of people who cheat in sport?
It should be banned for life, especially in contact sport.
It should be banned for life?
Yeah, banned for life. You know, there's no room for it. There's been a fighter today who's just had a brain hemorrhage. There's no room for it. I know firsthand the damage it does, from my dad with Joe McLennan, from Michael Watson.
I was there ringside of that fight. I mean, both men got taken to hospital, both nearly died.
And you think I do it, and people think I do this.
You know, we've heard this many times from boxers, and you'll often hear, more often now than ever, you'll hear a lot of boxers, especially retired ones, talk about like, yeah, everybody's using something in some way, shape, or form that is not on, that is banned, you know, and they do different things like IVs, even in mixed martial arts, IVs to flush the system. They taper on and off and then start their drug testing. Conor McGregor's got some rumors circulating around, but he did have a injury. The point I'm trying to make is it's hard to believe these type of stories. And it's like, you know, I'm 26. What do I need this testosterone for? And one thing you see when a lot of boxers, you know, body changes. Now, in this case, Conor Benn's body didn't change significantly. But when we did see this, including myself, before anything came out, I was like, whoa, like he's really packing on some muscle. And when you think about the drug, it's supposed to help with testosterone, fat loss, stamina. And he's not saying, basically what I'm getting from what he's saying is he doesn't believe that it was in his body. He's not saying it was eggs. The WBC is saying that it could have been from eggs. And the fact that he also was having to move up in weight, I forgot what the weight was, 157 or 158. He's a 147-pound fighter. He was ranked top 5. In fact, let me check right now to see if he's still ranked by anybody in the sanctioning bodies. So he can fight anywhere else, but just not in the UK. And it seems as though, which makes it even more UK, is almost like he's tapping out. He's saying he's got this 270-page manifesto dossier with all these independent doctors and all this mumbo jumbo, and he doesn't want to pursue it. Yeah, he is currently not ranked. He is out. He is out. So I'm going to give it some more time before I fully condemn him. But with the way things are looking right now is, you know, it's looking like he did that shit because, you know, you do this interview and we're going to listen to a little bit more. You know, here's the next timestamp. You do this interview and it literally doesn't prove anything. Like, in fact, listening to him makes me think even more that he did it. Let's go to the next timestamp. Once again, thanks for watching. Please take your time out, like the video, subscribe, leave any comments and suggestions down below. It is boxing season upon us, so you can expect for me to be pumping out consistent boxing videos. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, don't come, excuse my language, don't come fucking whinging to me about like, oh, I thought this was a boxing channel. Why can't you cover just boxing? Just go watch something else.
They always say, I didn't do it. Invariably, and then almost always it is proven that they did. You're in the strange position of, you're in a kind of mid position right now, because the WBC have come back and they have said that they think there may have been reasons why you had this in your body, but they have made a presumption it was in your body. You don't even accept that.
I don't accept that.
So when they say you may have taken, and it got a lot of attention, this, and some mockery, but when they said it may have been a highly elevated consumption of eggs, could have created this positive testing, you don't even accept that?
I don't accept that, no. The WBC, while I was me and my team were on the phone to them on a Zoom call, they had come out and said that one of their scientists are currently dealing with 2 cyclists who have tested positive for clomiphene traces, and they can prove it's in the embryos in the eggs. I'm not willing to accept it because the 270-page report that I sent over to them, my team sent over to them, had nothing to do with eggs. It had everything to do with my testing negative 3 times, and 9 days later testing positive.
They didn't conclude they found anything wrong with the testing. What they did say, they said there was no conclusive evidence that Mr. Benn engaged in intentional or knowing ingestion of clomiphene.
I don't believe it was there in the first place. You got to remember, I don't even know what this thing is. Coincidentally, for my first VADA test, coincidentally for the biggest fight of my career, there's a substance in my body that I haven't even heard of.
The reality is this particular drug, which is becoming more prevalent in sport, and no one's quite sure why, but it can, as I said, boost testosterone levels by 50%. It can reduce body fat. So it clearly would have tangible benefits on an athlete. I mean, it would. Whoever the athlete is, it would help. If someone was doing it deliberately, it would help. Well,
definitely. But what the WBC is saying is even the peak of it in my system is still only a trace.
Why don't you give this dossier, 270 pages of it, why don't you give it to the British Boxing Board of Control? Because they're ultimately the ones that can sanction or not sanction your right to fight in this country.
My dad tore up his British boxing licence on TV in the 80s. You know, the board ain't going to stop me from fighting. They can't stop me from fighting.
Well, they can stop you having a professional fight in this country.
In this country, and that's fine, so be it.
Is that fine?
They filed 7 misconduct charges against me.
Now, see, here's the thing. He's a UK fighter that's pretty much saying, you know, like, I don't need to fight in the UK. Like, bro. And then he's going to go on to later on say that he's going to try to sue them, the British Boxing Board of Control. Good luck with that. And why won't he give up the dossier? It just seems like he's bowing out. Like, he's like, you know what? I don't want to make it worse than what it is. But even if it's just trace amounts, and correct me if I'm wrong, am I hearing right? VADA didn't find anything. But the British Boxing Board of Control did. Isn't this something similar to the Billy Joe Saunders situation with the Andrade fight with the nasal spray? I'm trying my best to give the benefit of the doubt here. But I'm not, you know, like when it's like, you know, something like this that can greatly affect your livelihood, you fight to the end. You clear your name. You're being called the worst thing you can be called in boxing outside of being a cannibal, you know, biting people and shit. You know, and I'm talking about in the sport of boxing. You're being called a draw cheat. Like, you're boxing's chomo. Like, that's the worst thing you can be called as a criminal. That's a bad analogy. The point I'm trying to make is he's being called the goddamn worst thing. So, on to the next timestamp.
Holding all charges. I thought you lot can do one. You think I'm going to sit here and take this?
But if you have what they've said is, well, show us the evidence.
But I couldn't care less.
You've got 270 pages of apparent evidence. Surely the smart thing to do, whatever your views of the Board of Control, they are the governing body. Surely you should just give them your evidence. Let them respond.
That's down to my legal team. You know,
but what would stop you? I don't understand what stops you.
My pride, the way they've dealt with this,
pride won't get you through this.
But the board, I don't have to be licensed by the board. That's my views on it.
You do the fight in Britain.
I don't plan on fighting in Britain anytime soon.
Just put it all on the internet.
I want to. Trust me.
What's stopping you?
The ongoing legal cases. That's the only reason.
You seem to look. This is your career, your livelihood. This is everything at stake here.
Exactly.
No, I agree.
Everything's on the line.
I agree, and this is what I keep trying to tell my lawyer, but you can't do this, you can't do that. Mate, this would have been public. I've known what I've known since December, and I've kept quiet, everyone firing, everyone attacking me, and I've known what I've known since December. And I'm sitting here again going, well, why can't we just release the information? Why can't the public just know what's actually gone on?
Because the public, you know, from what I looked at it today, social media, is savage. They've convicted you. They think you're guilty.
And I'm going to have to deal with that, I think. I think public have made up
How are
their
you going
mind.
to deal with that?
There will be...
Because Eddie Hearn, your promoter, says, look, it's time to... You've got to move on, you've got to progress. What do you think when he says that?
Well, I don't think they're... I think the public have made up their mind already. Irrelevant of what's presented, irrelevant of what the board say. I've got strong...
And that's true. Public has made up their mind. What I don't like is looking like this may very well happen. Pacquiao, since his political career is, I think it's over, right? He's, you know, like free. He ran for president, didn't win. Senator and congressman, that's all over. So, you know, he's been having that itch. He did do an exhibition several months ago, and it was sad. Like him and Floyd Mayweather, the last 2 exhibitions, Manny only had 1, but Floyd has had several. But Floyd joint, I covered it. It was sad. The O2 Arena maybe was like, I would say 1/4 of capacity. Like, it was sad. Manny Pacquiao against that Dick U guy. It was sad. Like, you know it's sad when the arena's all dark and everything, but whatever. Retire fighters, go get your extra money, go work out some steam, some aggression. But in this case, this is likely going to be a 10-round to 12-round fight. And if he think Conor Benn is going to him beating up Manny Pacquiao at 44 years old, because unfortunately Pacquiao is, you know, don't get me wrong, he's dangerous. That left hand is dangerous. It's dangerous. I'm not gonna disrespect Manny Pacquiao, and Conor Benn is not the type of technician to be able to dismantle Manny Pacquiao. You know, as far as skill, but I think youth Conor Benn can beat Manny Pacquiao, and also, as this guy's saying right here, will there be drug testing? They're fighting over in Abu Dhabi. I doubt it. But for Conor Benn, I think it's in good faith for him to enroll in VADA. Because what type of stripes is he going to get from really getting the Manny Pacquiao scalp? It's more the money than the scalp, right? Because you can't get no stripes for beating up on old man Manny, like old man Pacquiao. Like, come on, man. And for those who don't know, here is the great Manny Pacquiao 8th Division Champions record. 62, 8-2 with 39 KOs. He's 44 years old. He just turned 44. What's his birthday? Back in December, right? Last fight. If this fight would happen between Conor Benn, it would be almost 2 years ago when he lost unanimous decision to Yordenis Ugas, and where Manny Pacquiao's age, like he really just got outboxed. This was supposed to be Errol Spence. He had that big win over Keith Thurman in 2019 and Adrian Broner and Lucas Matisse. That was still somewhat of a quality fight during that time, but pretty much he's a part-time, inactive 44-year-old boxer. And in today's modern medicine and technology, you can kind of fight until you're this old, but no one wants to see Pacquiao at this age possibly get beat up and his last fight be losing to a guy like Conor Benn. But I just think that Manny Pacquiao's hungry. That's what I think it is. He just wants to get the itch out. Let's listen to this, though. Where we at? We were going to this timestamp right here.
Finished and I want to resume with my career. Should I just sit back and accept the fact that
Are you going to sue the board?
No, of course. I'll be suing the board.
When?
When it will be suing them now. My legal team will be in touch. Would you mean when? You know, as soon as
For how
soon
much
as
money,
possible.
do you know?
For the full loss of earnings, damaged reputation.
How much is
because
that?
Because the board shouldn't recognise.
You see how he was dancing right there? He seemed like he was too sure. Like, it's almost like he kind of blurted it out. You know, like they never planned on suing the board, but he just was like, yeah, fucking of course.
VADA.
Let me ask you this. Let's assume for a moment your theory is right. It's a theory. It's not proven scientifically yet and hasn't been ratified by any governing body. But if your theory is right, it was contaminated, it would prompt the question, well, why? Who would want to do that?
It would be the only way it would be contamination if it is.
In whose interest is it to ruin this great fight?
I'm not saying it was deliberate. What, in the lab? I'm not saying it was deliberate. You know, it may be an error in the testing. I'm not saying deliberately. I'm not saying that anyone's in the labs deliberately done this.
Good cleanup.
I'm not saying that at all, but it may be an accident. It may be an error.
There are millions and millions of pounds at stake here, dollars, wherever you decide.
Does this all sound, from what I've said about the testing, manipulation, manufacturing, casino evidence, from what I'm saying to you, does that sound...
Listen, you sound like you have a welter of information, but I cannot for the life of me understand why you wouldn't then give it to the governing body. It's down to them whether you fight in this country again.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. That to me makes no
Because
sense.
I can get a license elsewhere.
What does Eddie? I mean, I've got a lot of time for Eddie Hearn. I think he's a brilliant promoter, and he cares about his fighters. He wants you to try and move on from this. That's his advice, right? What have you said to him about that?
I just said I need the biggest fight possible, the hardest fight, so that when I beat that person in devastating fashion, there's no questions as to my whole career. There's no questions. It's done. That's what I want to do. I can't come back. I don't need no warm-up. I don't need no easy fight. I don't need a warm-up to get back into it. I'm 26 years old. Give me the best name. Give me the biggest name.
Have you been training properly?
Of course I have.
You see, like, and what Manny Pacquiao do? Does Manny Pacquiao deserve this? You know, this type of treatment for Conor Benn to think he can fail a drug test. But at the end of the day, Manny Pacquiao's the A side, so he's making the decision. He'll be the one signing the contract. They brought poor old Nigel into this as well. You know, and he was in camp with him, but he really didn't say anything really too much of note. And Piers has been grilling, like, listen, if y'all got this dossier, you know, and this fucking manifesto, show it, like, to the British Boxing Board of Control. Fight to prove your name. You know, and then it's like he's saying he's not going to fight in the UK no more. He don't plan on fighting in the UK no time soon. You think he's serving his suspension right now, and then in a year or so he's going to pop up with his license? It's just all shady. It's just all shady. And now that I've got a chance to really sit down and research this, it's not looking good, and it's making me think like, yo, maybe he did do it, or maybe he knew something about it. Now, remember, he's saying, you know, from what I'm gathering from it, is that some type of lab contamination somewhere in there. You know, it can happen. It can happen. But I don't know. I just don't like how, you know, he's just like seemingly giving up on in the UK. And it's like, you know what? If I, you know, submit this dossier, if I keep fighting it, more and more is going to come out. It just looks bad. Take your time out. Like the video, subscribe. Follow the Fight View 360 Boxing Podcast and visit my website, fightview360.com, where you can find all of my post-fight videos. We got the Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia press tour coming up, which is going to be the next content on the channel in the next couple of days. I'm going to be doing my podcast and make sure I release it religiously on Tuesdays going forward. Now, if boxing is dry, I'm going to be honest, it may not be no boxing podcast, but I'm trying to keep things consistent. So all the links to all of my social media platforms, the website, the podcast is down below in the description box of the podcast or the YouTube video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.